going to talk about some of the proposed changes that are suggested for DSM-5.
Úgy tudom, hogy a DSM-5 még görültebb, mint a DSM-4.
Jól tudod.
You've got 374 named diagnoses in DSM. Well, guess what? There's going to be more in DSM-5.
Why do we all of a sudden need a fifth DSM-5? Psychiatry wanted to broaden the horizons of mental health problems, of disorders. They wanted to stretch the disorders so it would encompass more. And to do that, they're going to add more diagnoses.
We need more diagnoses like we need a hole in the head, really. They're not serving a purpose for mankind, all these diagnoses. They're almost laughable, some of the diagnoses.
Nevetségesek? Tényleg?
Nos, beszélnek az összehordási zavarról, ha nem dobsz el elég dolgot.
Persistent difficulty discarding or parting with personal possessions.
Dőzsölési zavar, ha túl sokszor eszel sokat.
Recurrent episodes of binge eating.
És van a bőrpiszkálási zavar.
So it's recurrent skin picking resulting in skin lesions.
Ezek mentális zavarok?
És van egy új zavar is, amely rengeteg olyan gyereket bekanalaz, akiknek a hisztiei még nem nevezhetők bipoláris zavarnak.
They've created temper dysregulation disorder to seem a little bit more mild of the condition and include a lot of the younger population in terms of that diagnosis. And what it essentially does, it just broadens bipolar disorder into a whole other new category. And where they don't fit into bipolar, now they can fit into this other diagnosing criteria.
Tehát egyre messzebb vetik ki a hálójukat.
Jobban, mint hiszed. Arról is beszélnek, hogy lesz egy címke a túl sok számítógép használatért.
Internet addiction diagnosis. It's another example of, just taking something going on in the popular culture that's, pretty widespread, and then finding a way to pathologize it.
I know people personally that spend 12, 13, 14 hours a day on the internet or social networking groups like Facebook. So there is something going on there. But is it a condition that we need to then label and drug? Absolutely not.
Ez tényleg nevetséges.
Igen, míg bele nem gondolsz, hogy Kínában a kormány már létre is hozott pszichiátriai intézeteket, hogy kezelje a problémás számítógép használó tinédzsereket, olykor elektrosok használatával.
Na ne!
Ha szerinted ez rossz, van még egy igazán rémisztő javasolt adalék az új DSM-hez.
Még ennél is rosszabb?
Ezzel a mentális betegségek diagnózisa egy hatalmas lépést tesz. A pszichózis kockázati szindróma, melyet mostanában a nyakatekert attenuált pszichotikus tünetek szindróma néven emlegetnek.
Nem semmi név, de mit jelent?
A really scary thing that's coming on the horizon is to come up with a whole bunch of diagnoses in there that are looking at people who currently are mentally well-adjusted but have a risk of developing a mental illness in the future.
They're still thinking they can define well before the symptoms develop the risk of a person developing a major mental disorder without any biochemical, biological or genetic test or any physical test whatsoever.
They don't know the cause of a mental illness. They can't treat it, they can't cure it. So how can they launch a preventative campaign for mental illness? It just logically, it falters.
Egy pillanat. A pszichiáterek úgy gondolják, hogy előre tudnak jelezni egy jövőbeli zavart?
Halljuk tőlük.
How can psychiatrists know if you're going to have a mental disorder in the future?
Again, that we don't know categorically who will develop psychiatric illness in the future.
It's really hard to say, actually. I don't know if you could 100% predict for anybody.
You can't forecast if one will develop a psychiatric disorder.
Maybe not, or maybe yes.
It's hard to predict.
It's hard to predict.
There's no way to predict that.
Well, I don't think that nobody knows that.
There's no way to tell.
Nobody knows?
I don't think anyone can know what's going to happen in the future.
Nyilvánvalóan fogalmuk sincs.
Így van. De ennek ellenére már most szűrni akarják a gyerekeket jövőbeli mentális zavarokért.
Hogy már most kezeljék őket?
Bizony.
I would hate to see us go into the type of society where people are locked up for what they may do in the future, rather than what they actually have done.
Identifying people who are pre-psychotic would be a huge industry.
Hú, ez tényleg rémisztő.
Az őrület az, hogy a pszichiáterek továbbra is készítik a DSM-5-öt, pedig a legbefolyásosabbak némelyike nyíltan kijelentette, hogy teljesen értéktelen.
Any comment on DSM-5? It's of no use to us in the rest of the world.
Még az USA Országos Mentális Egészségügyi Intézetének, az NIMH-nak a főorvosa sem éppen lelkes miatta.
I don't do DSM, I'm not involved. So, and that maybe tells you more than anything. NIMH is not involved with DSM.
Tehát a világ legnagyobb kormányzati pszichiátriai szervezetének főnöke hallani sem akar a DSM-ről?
Úgy néz ki. Teljes átverés az egész.
The Diagnostic and Statistical Manual is effectively the story that is being wrapped up in statistics and numbers and categories, that when medicine tosses, doesn't fit any of our categories over to psychiatry, psychiatry says we'll find a category, and if we don't, DSM-5 or 6 or 7 will.
I think in 2016 we'll be looking at DSM-6 and there will be 1,425 diagnoses and I'll have 900 of them.
Ez őrültség.